If I were to ask you what is the most powerful thing, what would your answer be? If you were a young Jedi who was becoming disillusioned by society, or if you're a simple farmer with werewolves hiding in the village, or if you watched your mother get eaten alive by a titan, what is the most powerful thing you can have? As boring as the answer is, it's information. Knowledge is the most important factor in many high stakes situations and even in everyday life. From knowing how to stretch to keep our bodies healthy and mobile to understanding logistical problems at work, knowledge is one of the biggest factors in life. But information is different. Information is more powerful. And to understand the difference, allow me to give you a few examples. In 1986, a psychologist named Dmitry Davidov created a game called Mafia. The concept of the game was simple. Everyone was given a role in secret, either a citizen or mafia, and each turn would start with the mafia secretly voting someone out of the game. Then, everyone would join in a group discussion and decide who in the group should be voted out, with the intention of voting out the mafia, whilst the mafia tried to blend into the group. The group won if the mafia were all voted out, and the mafia won if they outnumbered the citizens left in the group. If this game sounds familiar, it's because in 1997 Andrew Plotkin adapted the game into Werewolf. Now, the game has many roles, and it is much more complicated and strategic, but the base game was simple and designed for one purpose: to show the power of information. Davidoff created the game to prove the theory that an informed minority would beat an uninformed majority, and the theory was proven true. The werewolves start the game outnumbered, but they have all the information. They know who the werewolves are because it's them, and that takes the element of doubts out of the game. They can also mislead the group and cause more doubts and suspicion by pointing out others who seem guilty. Now, general knowledge can do a lot, and an extremely intelligent group member might be able to pick up on subtle hints such as facial expressions, or they might be able to convince the group of playing a strategy, such as just voting in a circle, but they are still at a monumentous disadvantage due to their lack of information. Usually, the party with more information has the advantage. For example, in Pirates of the Caribbean, Captain Jack Sparrow uses information to his advantage. Everyone believes he is famous for escaping an island with turtles and his own back hair, but this isn't true. Fortunately for him, though, everyone believes it is, so he uses it and convinces pirates to sail under him because they all believe he's greater than he really is. In Wreck It Ralph, King Candy makes himself the leader of a different game and then controls over it because he holds all the information, quite literally by erasing everyone's memories. We see it time and time again. Whoever holds all the information is drastically more likely to succeed. But this isn't the only way information can be used. Another extremely versatile way to use information is by weaponizing it. Take Sherlock Holmes, for example. During Sherlock and Moriarty's meeting, Moriarty leaves a piece of information for Sherlock to find. He leaves a code. He then tells multiple assassins that Sherlock has this information, and if they want it, they have to get it from him. Fortunately for Sherlock, none of these assassins tried to kidnap him or anything, but they all did move into his streets and started watching his every move, which of course made him more tense. The cherry on top was that Moriarty didn't even tell Sherlock that anything was happening, so Sherlock didn't know why so many assassins were moving into him. Now, this is an incredible use of information, as Moriarty didn't put himself in harm's way, he caused unrest in his opponent, and tricked assassins into doing his work for free, all with two simple steps. All he did was showcase he had the information, and then told people he passed on that information, and that's all he needed to do to have the upper hand. Weaponizing information is frequently done by manipulators as they grasp how valuable and powerful information is. I don't even know where to begin counting how many people lost their lives due to Palpatine manipulating Anakin by using information as a possibility instead of a guarantee. By claiming he knows something Anakin wants, in this case the power to save the ones he loves, but doesn't even prove it. Palpatine doesn't need to prove it, because just the chance of him having that information is enough to change Anakin's perspective on what he's doing. Plus, on top of this, the Jedi don't share all their information with Anakin, who has grown up as a Jedi. So, with the lack of trust, builds doubt and resentment. And as much as Star Wars is about space wizards with light swords and telekinesis, the real power at play is Palpatine's information versus the Jedi's. And as he knows who the Sith Lords are, he knows who's behind the Clone Wars, and he knows the truth behind the clones, he has the upper hand. Whereas the Jedi know the Sith are back, but they don't know where. They know it might be in a position of power, but they don't know who. The Jedi were even suspicious of Palpatine, but they sent the wrong person to watch him, which caused the downfall of the Jedi. Anakin needed information from Palpatine, and so he saved Palpatine over the Jedi. The mere bluff that he might have that information was enough to cause the chain of events that happened. But even if it was a bluff, there is one more way information can be dangerous, and that's false information. Believing one thing only to be tricked or betrayed, or being manipulated based on information that isn't true, happens quite a lot in cinema and a lot in life. The simple chance that what you're being told is true is enough to shape your opinion on the matter, even if it's not true. Let's look at Attack on Titan, as it's one of the best examples of how information shapes everything. The king behind the wall decides the best thing to do is wipe everyone's memories of the world beyond the wall, which starts a chain of events that leads to Eren almost ending life beyond the walls completely. The king does this in order to control everyone, because if they all know the truth, some might want to leave, some might want to fight back. So the government also creates their own history books spreading false information about humanity being wiped out, and there is nothing beyond the walls except Titans. This is more than enough to keep most people in line, but some still question this and venture outside the walls. Even with the scouts venturing beyond the walls, the royal family are still completely in control as they still hold all of the information. Until Grisha Yeager steals the founding titan and gives both the founder and attack titan to Eren. Once the military learns humans can turn into titans, they become aware of how much they don't know. But after an incident of captive titans being slain, the question of who the real enemy is becomes a theme for a long time. The rest of the show, actually. We eventually learn that the warriors who disguise themselves as soldiers inside the walls come from another place, proving the information the government has been giving out is false. After a military coup, the royal family, who used information as a means of controlling everyone, was dethroned. But the war wasn't over yet. With the arrival of Zeke, we learn even more about Titans. We learn about how they happen, why they happen, and the fact they can be controlled. Zeke put up a near unbeatable strategy as he uses expansive knowledge to almost wipe out the scout regiment and take Eren, but he was defeated by his lack of information on Levi. Once the scouts had the books of the outside world, Eren launched an attack on Marley and stole the Warhammer Titan and tricked Zeke into helping him control the Founder. Once Eren had the Founder, he used it to wipe out 70% of all life beyond the walls before he was defeated by his friends, which he knew would happen anyway. Attack on Titan is a perfect example of a battle of information, as the informed minority almost win, destroying a settlement of millions of people because they know more. Plus, they can also turn into giant monsters, which definitely helps kicking down the walls. Some in the show used their information to outsmart others, some used misinformation to control others, and one man used his information to get everything he wanted. So, how is this applicable to real life? Due to the internet, we are all exposed to information all day, every day. But how is it being used? It's no secret politicians use false information to gain more favour, and companies use their information to gain more money from the public, and news companies spread any information that gives them clicks, true or false. There is no way to avoid any of this, but the best way to keep yourself from being controlled is to question everything with a healthy amount of skepticism and know who to trust. Is the government trying to control you? Yes, the clue's in the name. Their job is to govern. Is the earth flat? No, you can literally experiment for yourself to figure this one out. Is the politician you like doing the right thing? Well, that one's on you to figure out. But do keep in mind, news sources are almost always biased, so make sure you look at multiple sources. It's probably somewhere in the middle where you want to make your opinion. The power of information is everything, and that is why information is the most powerful thing you can have.